Good morning, wonderful film students. Or if you've already watched the documentary for this week, wonderful warriors, spiritual warriors of period one. Now, let's give a little shout out here to the people who at least saw this. 11 of you. Thank you, Carissa. Thank you, Elijah. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Kayla. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Rhiannon. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Alvaro. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Amy. And thank you, Janine. I say that you saw this update. So I'm not sure if you all hit play and watched the entirety of the update, which was part of the lesson. That was an introduction to this documentary. Why do I say that? I don't know that all of you saw it. Hello, YouTube Analytics. According to this, 4 people hit play. As you know, you just hit play and it gives you a play count, but I can't guarantee that you all saw it, which is a disappointment to me because I put a lot of heart into that one. But I hope that you'll go back and you'll maybe binge some of our previous updates together. I created a playlist for our class, so if you just go to the playlist um, on my YouTube channel, I can't believe I just said on my YouTube channel, but that's where we are in 2020. So, have you been watching, or have you yet not watched Jodorowsky's Dune? Let's go to this. So, one more time, let's go over these questions. Make sure that you all know how to answer them. First, you hit play on the link. It's right here. Click on the link. This pops up. And this is what this site does. You hit play, and all this happens. It's an hour and 28 minutes of greatness, beginning with this incredible quote. What is to give light must endure burning. Right now, all of us, and not because it's hot, are burning. Burning because we are not doing what we normally do. We have had to adapt. We have had to change and evolve the way we do everything on account of this virus and the stay at home orders. In order for us to be safe, I'm talking to my laptop and you're watching it on a screen. But not only are we burning, but as the quote says, we're giving light. If you're gonna give light, you gotta burn. It's gotta hurt somewhat to be a participant in something that illuminates, according to this quote. A candle is on fire. A fireplace has the word fire in it. But what does the fireplace do? It warms us, it gives us light. A candle does that. You are doing that. You are participating in burning to some degree the way that we used to do things in order to give light to the way that we're doing them now. That's just the start of this documentary, right? Frame number one is this quote, and we then go into it 18 seconds in, and you learn a lot about Alejandro Jodorowsky. You learn a lot about science fiction. You learn a lot about these things. So, what are the questions that I'm asking you to answer? Discuss the messages that Jodorowsky wanted to convey to his audience through Dune. What does spiritual warriors, and I try to say it in his accent, but I can't, mean? Remember, he says that, right? In relation to how Jodorowsky assembled the creative team to make Dune. Who is it that he hired, and how did he motivate them? He goes over, as do the people who worked with him, what his motivation style was, what it is that he was trying to extract from his spiritual warriors that were now going to work on this film. And then, how did he hire Salvador Dali and Orson Welles, two of the great artists of the 20th century? Then, of course, if this is something called the greatest film never made, I'm going to ask you a question. Why was Jodorowsky's version of Dune never made? Then, explain Jodorowsky's reaction to watching another filmmaker's version of Dune. A while after this project fell apart, and I'm not going to spoil the why it fell apart because that's what you're going to be going over. Another filmmaker made Dune, David Lynch. 1984, I remember I was 10 years old, and they marketed the film, the studio marketed the film as it was going to be even better than Star Wars, because Dune, the novel, certainly influenced George Lucas. And if you watch the documentary, figure out a little bit more about that connection. I don't want to spoil it. I want you to see it. In fact, that's the next question. Which films did Jodorowsky, sadly never made Dune, influence? But as I was mentioning for question 4, at one point, Jodorowsky goes to watch another filmmaker's version, and he has a very memorable reaction that he describes. All right? Then, after you answer question 5 about what films this unfortunately not made film ended up influencing, here's a bonus for double credit. Explain the origin and evolution of science fiction in literature and film, noting at least 5 major authors and filmmakers involved throughout the 20th century. You're like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? Well, you go to the Google machine, you learn a little bit more about science fiction. And I'm also going to post this link. Also on the Documentary Mania site, which is showing up to save the day here with all of these documentaries that we can stream for free. Here is a series that came out in 2014. It was put together by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Company. So it's got like high quality, as the BBC is known for. And what I'd like for you to do, if you can, click on one, and each one of these is an episode that divides science fiction up. So next week, when we're working on our unit, we're going to watch 2 of these episodes per week. This is as close to what we were doing before as we can. Unfortunately, we can't watch all the films that I would have loved for us to watch, but this documentary series has clips, and that's fantastic. So in 4 episodes, we can watch clips. So how is this divided up? Let's take a look, and we'll talk about this again next week because it's part of our lesson next week. This series divides science fiction up into 4 categories: robots and technology, space, whatever's out there, who knows, invasion, when whatever is out there comes and wants Earth, and time, visitors who come from time and visitors who travel within time. And they talk to a variety in all 4 of creative minds from the 20th century and beyond, and talks a lot about different authors, different ideas and concepts, and how those ideas and concepts evolved. We'll talk more about this next week, but I really hope that you'll spend some time taking a look at them. So, due tomorrow, Friday, your questions. Your answers to these questions. Go back to the update. As usual, I always hope we'll get 33 because that's how many are in our class. We're at about a third. So stay safe, stay healthy, stay creative. and keep thinking about the future, which is what science fiction often does. Peace out.